Reports of a revival are spreading across the United Kingdom. The movement is marked by an increase in prayer as well as an increase in healings. One pastor describes feeling the tangible presence of God across the nation.
Across the United Kingdom, something unexpected is stirring. A quiet yet powerful spiritual revival that's sparking conversations and raising questions about the future of faith in a post-Christian society. After years of secular decline, people are returning to Christianity in surprising numbers, from university campuses to high-profile figures. This movement is reshaping the way the nation views faith, purpose, and meaning in a world that often prioritizes materialism. Could this be the beginning of a cultural shift? A spiritual awakening in a land long thought to be spiritually dry? As this revival quietly unfolds, it's igniting curiosity and wonder about what's next for the UK and what it could mean for the future of faith in the West. The history of revivals and awakenings in Britain spans centuries, weaving a complex and powerful narrative that has shaped the spiritual fabric of the nation. From the 17th century onward, Britain has experienced a series of profound movements of faith that have touched the hearts of its people, transforming both individuals and entire communities. These revivals have varied in scale and impact, ranging from sweeping, nationwide awakenings to intimate local movements, yet all share the same core: a deep, stirring call to return to faith. The First Great Awakening in the 18th century stands as one of the most significant moments in Britain's spiritual history. It was a period of widespread revival that spread throughout the country, reinvigorating the Christian faith and reshaping the social and cultural landscape. This was a time of profound change, when people from all walks of life experienced a spiritual renewal that reverberated through the centuries. Yet, not all revivals were so grand in scale. Some, like the Bedjalert Revival of 1834 or the Fishermen's Revival in Lowestoft in 1921, were more localized, focused on specific communities in need of spiritual restoration. These smaller movements, while perhaps less well-known, were no less significant. They breathed new life into villages and towns, restoring hope, rekindling faith, and reminding people of the power of God's presence in their lives. Over the course of 4 centuries, Britain has witnessed countless such awakenings. Some have been recorded in the history books, while others have faded into the collective memory of the Church. The Welsh Revival of 1904 to 1906 and the Lewis Revival of the 1950s are still talked about by many Christians, though today, nearly 80 years have passed since the last widespread spiritual awakening. As time goes on, the details of these movements have become more distant, almost forgotten by many who were not alive to witness them. But this does not mean that the spirit of revival is irrelevant today. On the contrary, there is an increasing recognition that the principles of revival, faith-based teaching, spirit-led leadership, and a genuine return to heartfelt devotion are needed now more than ever. We may no longer be able to summon the exact circumstances of past awakenings, but the essence of these movements is timeless. They hold within them the potential to inspire new hope, rekindle a passion for faith, and prepare the ground for a new wave of spiritual renewal. For much of the 20th and 21st centuries, the UK has experienced a gradual decline in religious affiliation. Surveys and studies show a significant drop in the number of people identifying as Christian, while those identifying as atheist, agnostic, or non-religious have steadily increased. This shift is especially noticeable in urban centers like London, where secularization has taken a firm hold. Advancements in science, philosophy, and cultural diversity have reshaped public attitudes towards religion, and faith has been sidelined in favor of materialism, individualism, and rationalism. The modern world, with its emphasis on personal success and logic, has led many to see religion as irrelevant to everyday life. Yet, despite this pervasive decline, a stirring revival is taking root across the UK, especially in places once considered spiritually barren, like Scotland and Northern Ireland. The past few years have witnessed a remarkable transformation, sparked in part by the isolation and challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a region that had long been considered spiritually dry, believers are experiencing a renewed hunger for God, a shift in hearts that signals the beginning of something profound. In Northern Ireland, Pastor Craig Cooney of Hope Church has been at the forefront of this revival. He describes how the community of believers has been feeling a powerful shift, one that he believes marks the end of a long spiritual drought. The pandemic left churches in a difficult place, Pastor Cooney reflects. From 2020 to 2023, we saw a sharp decline in both attendance and enthusiasm. It felt like we were just going through the motions, struggling to regain momentum. Churches were empty. The spiritual fire seemed to have died down. Yet now, he says, something is stirring. I can feel the change. The spiritual drought we experienced during the pandemic is over. God is moving, and we are witnessing the beginnings of a revival. Across the border in Scotland, the revival is equally palpable, with reports of an increasing number of people returning to church and seeking a deeper relationship with God. Scotland, which had seen a steady decline in religious life for decades, is now experiencing a resurgence of faith, especially in the Highlands and urban centres like Glasgow and Edinburgh. Stories of prayer meetings, spontaneous worship gatherings, and people rediscovering their faith are emerging from all corners of the country. It's a movement that some have even described as a new Great Awakening for Scotland, a call to return to the heart of faith that once shaped the nation. In both Scotland and Northern Ireland, this revival isn't just about church attendance, it's a deeper spiritual awakening. Pastor Cooney has seen firsthand how the pandemic, despite its challenges, has become a catalyst for change. He speaks of a fresh desire among believers to seek God more earnestly and to live out their faith in a world that is hungry for meaning and hope. People are desperate for something real, he says. They are looking for answers, and they are finding them in Jesus. In recent years, many churches and Christian communities across the UK have reported a significant rise in engagement, particularly among younger generations who are grappling with the global uncertainties that have shaken society. The COVID-19 pandemic, with its widespread disruption and emotional toll, served as a profound catalyst for reflection. For many, it prompted a re-evaluation of life and beliefs, leading some to turn to faith as a source of stability, comfort, and guidance in a world that felt increasingly unstable. In a time when everything seemed to be in flux, people found themselves longing for something more enduring than the fleeting distractions of modern life. Churches, once struggling to keep their doors open, are now witnessing a revival of interest. There has been a marked increase in attendance at services, especially in local congregations, as well as a surge in online spiritual engagement. Prayer meetings are seeing new faces, and there's a palpable shift in the atmosphere, one of hope and renewal. This revival is particularly evident among young people who are increasingly drawn to faith-based communities that offer more than just religious teachings. They provide a sense of belonging, purpose, and direction in a fragmented world. This movement is not just about numbers or trends. It reflects a deeper spiritual renaissance taking place within the UK's Christian communities. People, in the midst of uncertainty, are rediscovering their connection to faith. They're longing for something greater than themselves. It's as if a river is rising, gradually swelling with a renewed desire to seek God. The evangelical and Pentecostal movements have experienced notable growth in the UK in recent years, particularly in the wake of global challenges and shifting societal norms. These movements emphasize personal encounters with God through the Holy Spirit, with a focus on healing, empowerment, and spiritual transformation. Their vibrant, emotionally engaging style of worship and experiential approach to faith has resonated strongly with younger generations, who are often seeking a Christianity that is active, dynamic, and deeply personal. In response, new events, conferences, and gatherings centered on prayer, worship, and community have emerged across the country, leading to rapid growth in some churches and ministries. The powerful personal testimonies of individuals who have experienced miraculous healings or life-changing conversions have also played a key role in drawing others to explore the Christian faith. The Pentecostal focus on tangible, transformative experiences has been particularly appealing to those desiring a more immersive and emotionally engaging spiritual journey. Additionally, many churches within these movements have reached out to marginalized communities, broadening their influence and expanding their appeal. On university campuses throughout the UK, Christian student groups, unions, and student-led organizations have become focal points for spiritual revival. These groups offer prayer meetings, worship events, and evangelistic outreach, and are part of a broader movement of spiritual awakening among young people. This revival on campuses mirrors the Jesus movement of the 1960s and 1970s in the US, where young people were drawn to the radical, countercultural message of Christianity. As students organize Bible studies, prayer gatherings, and social events with a spiritual purpose, they are shaping the future of the church in the UK, blending faith with a desire to address personal and societal challenges. In recent years, something surprising has been happening in the UK. A growing number of well-known public figures, many of whom were once atheists or skeptics, are embracing Christianity. This shift has caught the attention of both the media and faith communities, and it feels like a significant moment for a country that's long been leaning toward secularism. These conversions aren't just personal stories. They have the potential to spark a wider spiritual renewal, especially in a society where faith is often seen as irrelevant or out of place. What makes this trend even more interesting is the backgrounds of those involved. Many of these new believers come from places where religion wasn't just unimportant. It was something to be questioned or even rejected. People like philosopher John Lennox, journalist Lee Strobel, and even celebrities have openly shared their experiences of coming to Christianity. These stories aren't just about a sudden change of heart. They're about a journey that involved deep questioning, intellectual exploration, and ultimately, a transformation that brought them closer to faith. Take Lee Strobel, for example. As a former legal editor at the Chicago Tribune, Strobel was a committed atheist, determined to use his investigative skills to disprove Christianity. But after spending months researching the historical evidence for Jesus' life and resurrection, he found himself convinced by the facts and became a believer. His book, The Case for Christ, shares his journey and has inspired many others to explore Christianity with a more intellectual approach. These conversions are significant because they challenge the common assumption that faith is incompatible with reason or intellect. They offer a fresh perspective in a society that often views religion as outdated or irrelevant. The stories of these individuals, who began as skeptics but ended up embracing faith, serve as a powerful reminder that faith isn't just for the uneducated or the uninformed. While each conversion story is deeply personal, there are certain common threads that weave through the testimonies of these high-profile figures who've embraced Christianity. One of the most significant themes is the search for a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in life. Many of these individuals speak candidly about feeling a profound emptiness or dissatisfaction with secular worldviews that fail to provide answers to the big existential questions. In their quest for meaning, they found in Christianity a coherent, compelling narrative that spoke to their deepest concerns about life, morality, and the nature of existence. Take John Lennox, the renowned Oxford professor of mathematics, for example. Despite his rigorous work in science and logic, Lennox describes how his Christian faith brought him both intellectual fulfillment and personal meaning. While many see science and religion as opposing forces, Lennox found that the Christian worldview actually complemented his scientific understanding. Christianity provided him with a framework that explained the origins of the universe, the nature of human morality, and the search for meaning in a way that secular perspectives simply couldn't. For Lennox, Christianity wasn't just a belief system, it was a way of seeing the world more deeply and comprehensively. Another powerful factor in the conversion stories of these individuals is the transformative nature of personal experiences and encounters with God. Many speak of moments that felt like profound awakenings, spiritual encounters that felt undeniably real, sometimes overwhelming, and often life-altering. These experiences, whether emotional or intellectual, caused them to reassess their former views on religion and spirituality, leading them toward Christian faith. For some, these encounters were deeply emotional, moments of profound peace or clarity that seemed to touch something deep within their souls. For others, the shift was more intellectual, sparked by careful reflection on suffering, life's mysteries, and the hope that Christianity offered as an answer to life's most difficult questions. Ultimately, for these individuals, their journeys to faith weren't just about changing beliefs. They were about finding answers to the questions that had haunted them for years and discovering a faith that gave them both purpose and peace. The growing trend of high-profile figures converting to Christianity holds the potential to profoundly reshape the spiritual landscape of the UK. While it may not immediately reverse the secular trends that have defined recent decades, it signals a renewed interest in spiritual matters that could spark a wider cultural shift. These individuals, with their public platforms, are able to initiate important conversations about faith, purpose, and the search for meaning, encouraging others to explore Christianity and other belief systems in a society increasingly disillusioned by materialism. One of the most impactful aspects of these conversions is how they challenge the dominant narrative that religion is incompatible with modern life or intellectual progress. In a time when secular ideologies often dominate public discourse, the stories of these converts provide a counterpoint, showing that faith and reason can coexist. This could open the door to more balanced conversations between secular and religious viewpoints, fostering greater mutual respect and understanding. As the revival in the UK continues to unfold, it's clear that this spiritual awakening is more than just a fleeting trend. It represents a profound shift in how faith is being understood and experienced in a society long dominated by secular ideals. The growing interest in Christianity, particularly among younger generations and high-profile figures, signals a hunger for meaning and purpose that transcends the material world. While the full impact of this revival remains to be seen, it offers a powerful reminder that faith is not confined to the past, but is alive and dynamic, capable of transforming lives and communities. As the UK grapples with its identity in a rapidly changing world, this revival could very well be the spark that reignites deeper spiritual conversations, opening new possibilities for the future of faith in the West.